And welcome back to Varsity Sports Now. Well, the South Dakota High School football playoffs kicked off on Tuesday night across the state. And we now are going to take a look back at three of the most competitive contests in the South Dakota Rewind. We're going to start in Class 11B. Nick Buckman ran for 79 yards and a score to lead Tri-Valley past Beersford 20-14 in a tough first-round matchup. The Mustangs will travel to Winter for Monday's quarterfinals. That, by the way, is a rematch of last year's 11B title game. Well, the biggest upset of the night came in Class 9AA as Meadow Marion knocked off top-ranked Garrettson in Region 2. The Razorbacks rallied from a 12-point third-quarter deficit to beat the Blue Dragons 40-36. Now, the road won't get any easier for Meadow Marion on Monday as they visit top-seeded Gregory. In other nine-man action, unbeaten Howard survived the scare from Hanson in the opening round of the 9A playoffs. The Tigers got 225 yards and 3 touchdowns from Luke Loudenberg and edged the Beavers 22-16. Howard will host New Underwood on Monday. All right, now South Dakota's two largest classes of high school football will kick off their postseasons on Thursday night. And for more on that, Jason Andera is sitting down with Chris Tubbs from KWSN Radio.
All right, Chris, it's time to talk about high school playoff action. And the first thing I want to get to is the class system. The big thing in the offseason was adding a 7th class of football to high school football in South Dakota. Now we actually see that, in the regular season you could schedule whoever you want, but now we've got 7 classes, 7 champions to deal with. What do you think about that whole new structure that's happening in South Dakota right now?
I think it's been watered down, and I think this was the fear of a lot of people that were opposed to expanding to that 7th class, is that you knew that when you had just your regular AA, A, and B, that you still had the haves and the have-nots. You still had that delineation between the contenders and pretenders. And now that you've got the AAA and AA, you see that there are only less than a handful of teams in both classes that I think have a serious shot to win titles.
Well, let's talk about the actual games. This is the fun part. Let's talk about AA, 11 AA, and 11 AAA, the two classes that you guys cover a lot of. Let's start in 11 AA. Pierre's been the number 1 seed most of the year. Is there somebody else in 11 AA that you see that can maybe make some noise?
Pierre, obviously, right now is the favorite. And even with Alex Gray, suffered a stress fracture in his right foot. Second week of the season. Nobody knew about that until just a couple weeks ago. And I saw him play against O'Gorman and Brandon Valley, and absolutely didn't slow down at all. I think Pierre, obviously, right now is the team to beat on both sides of the ball. I like their skill players. I like the way that they play defense. I think Yankton, J.J. Hanna, there's just something about him. He may be one of the best players at any level in the state. I mean, J.J. Hanna is an absolute weapon. And if Yankton goes to that buck spread where they run 3 wideouts with 3 quarterbacks on the field at the same time, that's hard to defend. So I think Yankton, if they can figure out how to get J.J. Hanna the ball, you keep feeding him the ball. I think Yankton, even though they lost to Pierre, they've got a chance to make some noise. And Watertown's kind of a sneaky team for me because Shea Bratlin's a lot more physical running the ball than I thought he was. If Watertown can control the clock and Logan Gabriel doesn't make any mistakes, I think they've got a chance to maybe put a scare to somebody.
Let's move on to 11 AAA now. You've got the Sioux Falls schools. In the past, it's been all 4 Sioux Falls schools right at the top, hosting games in the first week. It's a little bit different this year, but how do you see 11 AAA playing out?
I might be in the majority, but I really see there are 2 teams right now, and it's Lincoln and Roosevelt and everybody else. Brandon Valley's just too inconsistent. I think it's Lincoln, Roosevelt, and AAA.
Good stuff from Chris Tubbs of KWSN. He's on every day at 3 o'clock with Craig and Chris. Coming up next, we've got a story about a team that strung 7 shutouts in a row together. We'll tell you the story when we come back.
Varsity Sports Now, presented by Shields.